Man, you better stop playing on my top, man. Y'all know it's sport, man. I'm 10 toes down. I hold it down, stay solid. They hate it. Forward to go troll, they quick to pray. I'm a young G to skate if I license.
I guess at some point after the fact, the state wants to take a proffer from you or have a discussion with you, ask you some questions about whatever that may be.
He decides to flip and become a cheese eater.
As a mother, how did that make you feel?
It's heartbreaking. It made me feel completely helpless.
Melly's reaction to Bortlen accepting his plea deal in court was released. The news wrote, Bortlen took the plea deal. He also agreed to a proffer, which means he's talking. The sentence is to accessory after the fact, and he will do 10 years plus 6 on probation minus any time served, alongside an email posted in the court system reading, given Mr. Henry's plea deal and proffer agreement, we are concerned for his safety and would like to facilitate it in the next 30 days, meaning the prosecutors think Bortlen will get caught lacking in his cell block before delivering his proffer against Melly. This resulted in a message from Bortlen from jail.
Man, you better stop playing on my top, man. Y'all know it's sport, man. I'm 10 toes down. I hold it down, stay solid. They hate it. Forward to go troll, they quick to pray. I'm a young G to skate if I license. But I look like taking the deal that hurt my. I look like giving a about how y'all feel. I'm a young fly. Be back to raise and prevail. Damn, why they wanted to take that L? Don't you know you can see the dirt for even speaking that L? It's the sport name a part of Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. YNW for L. Never be stopped. Let's stop playing on my top like y'all know what the going on, man. Hey, free me in, Melly, boys.
However, academics exposed what's really happening, as Bortlen tried to avoid the snitching label, but academics spoke on what his deal is really like. The judge says on both charges that Bortlen pled no contest to, that he has to provide a factual basis to accept the plea, meaning he has to tell a factual story of how he committed accessory to the crime, as he will confirm the crime happened and will put pressure on Melly. It's a gunna plea, but rather than getting to say, yes ma'am, he has to sing like Franklin.
I did tweet out saying people are upset. I said this is a gunna plea. This is a gunna plea. This isn't a plea saying you have to tell on him, but this is a plea that you're going to have to provide all the details that they were missing to convict him. And that's why it's a gunna plea. Why do I say he signed a gunna plea? Because YNW Melly, and I watched the case, we covered it. YNW Melly's case is that, number one, you guys have not done a job to prove that this is actually they have proved, but prove that this is a homicide with this person being the offender. Also, the accessory after the fact plea confirms that Bortlen, that's kind of like almost like a sub part of a conspiracy, except you weren't with the conspiracy at first. You came in after the fact. What that proved is that they came in. Oh my God, my dog's crying. What that proved is that Bortlen worked with someone after he acknowledged that a took place in trying to cover it up. You hear what I just said? When pleading to an accessory to after the fact, you have to acknowledge that the happened and you assisted someone or in some way to cover the. Now, if Melly's statement is, how do we know? And then secondly, how do we know who did it? Because they said it was a drive-by.
As Bortlen will confirm that Sack Chaser and Juvie were taken out, and if Bortlen is no longer charged for the crime, that leaves only Melly left at the scene. But what was crazy to hear in the courtroom was that the judge was surprised Bortlen got the deal that he did. As he said, I don't know how your lawyers pulled this off.
And it's my understanding that you want to resolve both cases today. Is that correct? Yes. And that resolution is an agreement you've reached with the state, the terms of which are as follows. Number one, in the 19 case, you're going to plead no contest to both counts of accessory after the fact. In the 23 case, you're going to plead no contest to all 4 counts as charged. In exchange for that, the state is going to null process, that is, drop the 2 first-degree. In exchange for that, I'm going to adjudicate you guilty on the 2 accessory counts as well as the tampering count. I'm going to sentence you to 10 years in Florida State Prison.
Bortlen's incredibly lucky to be turning his potential 5 life sentences into only 6 years remaining of jail and 6 years probation, which got the news of a famous lawyer's reaction. Lil Wayne and Kodak Black's attorney Bradford Cohen says Bortlen has bit the cheese and is likely to flip on Melly after accepting a plea deal in Double M case.
All right, let's talk YNW Melly and YNW Bortlen. He is now doing the triple Lindy. For those youngsters that don't know what the triple Lindy is, it is when you do several flips off a high dive, and he will be flipping. He is going to be tell-all about anything he knows about the double case, and they will know if he's telling the truth or telling a lie when he gives his full quote-unquote confession as to what happened that evening. And that's what happens. A lot of times where guys are in the prison for 4 or 5 years awaiting trial and looking at a life sentence, and they're offered 10 years where they'll be home probably in another 3 years that he'll serve, he decides to flip and become a cheese eater. And that's what happens a lot of times on these cases. And I was expecting it to happen a lot sooner than it did. He held out for quite some time. But long story short is it looks like he's going to flip. And it makes the case on YNW Melly, depending on what he says, which I anticipate he'll say that YNW Melly is responsible.
6ix9ine even wrote, Bortlen just accepted his plea deal with prosecutors. Melly is cooked. I told you about all these rap guys years ago, but since they were scared of how big I was, everyone singled me out, as the judge told Bortlen that he has to do an interview with prosecutors.
Sir, lastly, and I want to make it very clear on the record, and it's unrelated to this negotiated change of plea, I guess at some point after the fact, the state wants to take a proffer from you or have a discussion with you, ask you some questions about whatever that may be. What I want you to understand, sir, is I guess that's part of this negotiated resolution, but your answers to any of those questions, whatever they might be, have no bearing on me and have no bearing on this negotiated resolution. In other words, the deal you've negotiated is the deal you've negotiated, and that's the ballgame. Do you understand all that, sir? Have you had enough time to talk to your lawyers about all that? They've answered all your questions? You're sure that that's what you want to do?
This resulted in Offset tweeting Melly getting snitched on by his best friend. Free that boy, he'd been locked up way too long. However, Bortlen didn't have much of a choice, as the judge went over the lengthy charges and sentences he would have faced.
Mr. Henry, do you understand the offer that the state is making to you? Okay, you're charged as follows. Counts 1 and 2 is the first degree with a firearm. Those are capital felonies, which means it's a mandatory life sentence. If the jury convicts you of count 1 or count 2 as charged, that's life in Florida State Prison. I have no discretion. Count 3 and count 4 are accessory after the fact to murder in the first degree. Those are each first degree felonies. The maximum penalty for each of those is 30 years in Florida State Prison. Count 1 is tampering with a witness in a capital felony. That is punishable by life in Florida State Prison. Is directing the activities of a criminal, that's a first degree felony punishable by life. So the maximum penalty there is also life in Florida State Prison. Count 5 is conspiracy to commit tampering. And again, as it's charged, that is also a life felony. As to all the charges that you're facing, the maximum possible penalties are as follows. Life in Florida State Prison, followed by 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 75 years in Florida State Prison.
Using Bortlen taking a plea deal will help them find Melly guilty. There was many questions about what really happened on that night, and Bortlen will be able to clear it up. The first being that Bortlen did an interrogation on the night of the crime, and he will be able to testify about what was the truth, as the officer asked Bortlen if he knew who did the crime.
Like just telling me the truth, even if it's something that I don't want to hear, but I respect the truth rather than BS, okay? And it's a simple question. If you knew who did this, okay, you may or may not know. If you knew who did this, would you tell me? It's either a yes or no question. Answer.
Honestly?
Yeah, honestly. The truth. You wouldn't?
Because I wouldn't want to be a part of that. I wouldn't want to be.
Bortlen doesn't answer yes or no with his voice. Instead, he shakes his head no, because he was worried the detective would know if Bortlen was lying based off his body language. But they realized that Bortlen never wanted any of this, he just wants out of the case. As the feds already know, Melly was the primary suspect with these messages.
The PC Gambino account asked him if he was okay, and his response was, I did that, and placed a smiley face emoji.
And the next message from 10/26/2018 at 16:02 from Eastern Standard Time. The YNW Melly count says what?
After that, SHHHH.
But somehow, Melly is still confident he will get out, because regardless of Melly in jail, he ordered a $100,000 chain.
I would assume
But it's still,
that he spent a lot of money on lawyers. Like an amount that would probably...
That kid spent a lot of money on a lot of things that shouldn't have been spent on.
Really? Like what else?
And cars, jewelry. And he's not even out to wear the jewelry. I'm like, why are you buying jewelry and you're not here to wear the jewelry?
No, definitely lawyers are probably the best thing you can spend
That's
money
what
on.
bro. But he's good with lawyers, bro. Like, money ain't an issue for lawyers. Like, he's fine, but it's just like, there was a lot of stuff that should have went to lawyers that he didn't spend on lawyers. And I'm like, bro, And now it's like he don't even want to chain no more.
But it's interesting how the feds got Bortlen to take a plea deal, because they first started when it was announced Melly's double retrial has been postponed once again. The Court of Appeals granted a stay in the case, meaning his trial is pushed back to January 2027. And with the trial delayed, they cut off all communications between Melly and Bortlen. With it reported, a no communication order has been filed in the Melly trial. The order makes Melly and Bortlen completely separate. No talking, no lawyer talk, just silence. This was the key move that got Bortlen closer to taking a plea deal, as Melly and his team couldn't convince him to stay solid anymore. Bortlen realized that he isn't willing to serve his life behind bars for the main crime that he didn't even commit, which made it a no-brainer to take the deal. Something else that convinced Bortlen to take the deal was Melly trying to pin the crime on Bortlen in his first trial, as his lawyer brings up Bortlen for lying about everything.
Those were his lies. Cortland Henry shows up at Memorial Hospital, Miramar. You don't see him sitting there, but where you will see him sitting is in the driver's seat of a car with two bodies, car riddled with bullets. And when he shows up with a change of clothing, change of shirt, powder residue on his hands, evidencing that he had discharged a firearm. And he lies. He lies about where the incident occurred. He lies about how it occurred. And he lies about not having a phone. I think it was Miss Bradley herself who said, everybody has a phone in his pocket, not Cortland Henry.
They said Bortlen was the one responsible. He was the one last with Sack Chaser and Juvie since he drove them to the hospital. One concerning factor was that Bortlen had firearm powder on his hands, meaning he was there when it went off, as an investigator spoke about it in court.
So the right hand of Cortland Henry contained 0 particles characteristic of shot residue and two component particles. And the left hand contained 1 particle characteristic of shot residue and 1 2-component particle.
Okay. And can you explain to us what that means?
Basically, overall, there was shot residue present on the hands.
And this is when Bortlen really saw what Melly was trying to do. When it happened, Bortlen tweeted out, "Mind games don't work on people like me," alongside a handshake emoji, as he was hinting about taking a deal. And taking a plea deal only looked better after Bortlen was hit with witness tampering charges.
Melly's co-defendant YNW Bortlen was booked into a Miami jail Monday night and is being held behind bars on an out-of-county warrant. We just confirmed the warrant is out of Broward County for witness tampering. The warrant obtained by Law and Crime Network states as follows. On or about April 10, 2023, continuing through and including July 22, 2023, Cortland Henry, aka Bortlen, along with others, did unlawfully and knowingly engage in misleading conduct toward another person with the intent to cause or induce them to withhold testimony. The warrant continues the alleged witness had been summoned by the legal process to the jury trial of Jamel Dimmons, aka YNW Melly. The dates in the warrant are important. Jury selection for Melly started in mid-April, and a judge declared a mistrial on July 22nd, the same day the warrant claims Bortlen allegedly tampered with the witness.
Which had photos show where the jurors were sitting in court with a description of what they looked like, and academics called out Bortlen for how dumb this was.
To keep it real, this is sloppy. Bortlen, how the f you gonna have the notebook of the jurors in your house? Holy sh! Like, come the f on! It's like doing a and having the surveillance tape in your DVD player or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, come on, bro! Like they raid your crib and the surveillance footage of the is in your DVD player. They be like, oh, okay, thank you, brother. This can't be at your crib.
On top of Bortlen telling his story, he will finally be able to speak on why Fredo Bang picked up Melly on the side of the road, which happened minutes after the crime happened.
And Chris Thomas are. So what you're also going to find out is while Mr. Devins is out there on the side of the road, 4 in the morning, 4:42 specifically, he sends a drop pin, digital homing beacon, to his current location, to one of his friends, Frederick Givens. Frederick Givens is also involved in the music industry, and he asked to be picked up. Frederick Givens, then about 11 minutes later, is sent another drop pin where Mr. Devins has moved a couple of meters. What you're going to find out as well, though, is these digital leashes, they have more than just phone calls.
To make the situation even worse for Melly, they are trying to add a street team motive behind the crime, as this is described as an aggravating factor, which increases Melly's sentences if the judge allows it. They talk about Melly being with young thug who is in the red street team.
Same thing, the use of the slap term, 5-point star, snake. He's saying he's YSL, he's hanging with him. And he puts up his YNW for life hashtag on it with Mr. Devins has the big B hand signs displayed.
Right, and these individuals again, I'm assuming that's also the young thug. That's also unknown.
Yes.
Also important to your investigation, correct?
Yes.
Also publicly available for anyone to see and capture.
With the feds wanting to enter this evidence, Melly got mad as he began arguing with his own lawyers about the evidence, as Melly wanted them to let it in the case so he wouldn't delay his trial.
Yes, sir. Against our advice, our client wants to proceed.
You objected to their request for me to determine this automatic stay.
Based upon what our client has instructed us, yes, sir.
People in the court heard that Melly was saying, "I don't care, I'm not in a team." They can't prove that.
I'm aware that 924-071. Call for an automatic stay while
they were aggravators. They go to membership in a gang. There are things that the jury would have to find before going into penalty.
Not aggravator, that's the death penalty. Aggravator, that's the enhancement itself, Your Honor. That was charged. He was charged in committing the murder for the further conviction, which is an aggravator in terms of the guilt.
Something that they would have to find by way of an interrogatory.
Yes.
Although there's another person who will testify against Melly that is new. An old O-Block member claims that Melly asked King Von for advice on how to deal with people.
Did Von really tell you that Melly told him that he was two friends?
He ain't come out and say, like, we got into an argument. And so, you know, if you know, when people could say something without saying it. And so he told me, like, once I posted what I posted, Von was mad at me. Bro, why you put up there, bro? Well, out the bam, I'm like, you sitting up here, like, you know the love we got. You do this for us, but you gonna trust that his two friends? And he said, them was trying to extort him. And so I'm like, if they was trying to extort him, then why are you still around them?
As if Melly's case with Sack Chaser and Juvie wasn't already bad enough. He was also hit with witness tampering charges because the feds say that Melly told his ex-girlfriend Mariah to leave the country before his trial. He was worried of what Mariah was going to testify to in trial, so he made her leave the country for 3 years, but she just returned to the United States.
Mariah Hamilton is spending her first day at the Broward County Jail. She has no arrest record until now. U.S. Border Patrol agents arrested her at Miami International Airport Monday after she arrived on an international flight. Court records show Hamilton was ordered to testify in Demon's first trial in 2023.
In order for Mariah to be released, she agreed that she wouldn't leave the country again and that she would testify in the next Melly trial. But she basically said it wasn't what she wanted to do, but had no choice. With her writing, "Thank you to my village, I love y'all so much. God's plan, not mine." They found disturbing evidence in Mariah's iCloud account relating to Melly forcing her not to testify. The charge of witness tampering is a life sentence on its own, even if Melly is found not guilty for taking out Sack Chaser and Juvie.
The state filing 6 new charges against Demons and 2 others who were allegedly involved. The charges include tampering with a witness, directing the activities of a criminal, solicitation or conspiracy to commit tampering, and unlawful use of a two-way communication device. Now, a couple of those charges actually carry a life in prison sentence if there's a conviction.
With Melly tampering, they had to do something, so they took his jail phone privileges, as Juvie's father spoke on how Melly used to witness tamper.
There was this kind of crazy way that Melly was communicating. He wasn't allowed to use the phone, but he was passing notes to people, and then this person's calling this person and then that person.
Saying like to me, they going through extreme measures, trying to cover up or convince people not to testify, like Mariah mom. They was using code words like Rihanna and A$AP Rocky's baby mom. And
although with Melly's communication cut off, his mother is sad, as she says it's not fair.
My son has not been convicted of anything, and even other inmates that have been convicted or anything, they have the right to use a telephone. They have a right to just to be allowed to write letters to their loved ones, to receive their mail. They hold his mail, they don't give it to him.
She followed up further by saying she's heartbroken that Melly is in this situation and feels helpless.
When you saw Melly's statement, just saying how he's been hurt, how he's scared for his life. As a mother, how did that make you feel?
It's heartbreaking. It made me feel completely helpless. Broward Sheriff's Office definitely needs to be investigated. I mean, they are making up their own rules. We've tried to go to court about this situation. The judge really doesn't have any jurisdiction when it comes to the jail, because we actually had a hearing about the mistreatment of him, and the jail they make their own rules. And I don't think that's fair, because I know that they need to answer to someone too.
But Charleston shared that this is the reality of Melly's actions.
The YNW Melly, I'm so happy he in jail getting mistreated. Yeah, I'm so happy he in jail getting mistreated, homie. Homie, when you take a life, homie, you ain't got a right to complain about a motherfucking thing about being mistreated when you done chose to play somebody.
But on the other side, Boozy spoke about how he feels bad for Melly's mother.
Okay, so
Then I met his mama while he was in.
Oh, okay.
I met his mom while he was in, and she real, bro. You know, she real.
She's stressed out. I heard she had a...
Yeah, she real, and I reached my hand out to him, cause I'm real. Yeah, I reached out to him, bro. I met his mom, and she a good woman, bro. And when I see them mamas like that, it remind me of what my mom was going through, bro.
Having Bortlen on the Fed side will answer an important question. We will get the full story on why Melly and Bortlen were dancing just hours after the crime happened. Not looking sad one bit.
Melly still turned regardless of what happened this early morning. He's still out here being very positive. Turned still. Hey! No, still turned, regardless of what happened. You already know.
But to make the evidence even worse against Melly, they have him on video entering the car just 30 minutes before the crime happened.
Excuse me, you're able to see? Yes, all right.
The official court documents read, the direction of the traveling from left to right in the car supports the claim that they originated from the back left seat where Melly was positioned. Even Juvie's mother confirmed he was there.
Can you state your name, your full legal name for the jury?
I'm Leon Phillips.
Okay. And are you related to one of the victims in this case?
Yes, I am.
How so?
I'm his mother.
And who is that?
Christopher Thomas.
Ms. Phillips, did you see who entered into the occupants who entered into that gray Jeep?
Yes.
Do you recognize where your son entered that gray Jeep?
Yes.
Which seat, if you can identify for the jury?
He got in the back seat on the right hand side.
Did you recognize the individual that got into the back seat on the left side, the rear driver's side?
Yes.
And who was that individual?
Janelle.
But they will definitely use Bortlen's interrogation from the night of the crime in Melly's case, as they will have Bortlen's real story to go alongside it, proving that everything Melly and Bortlen have said for the last 6 years about what happened was all a lie.
Okay, tell me what happened.
Man, I was playing music, getting off the exit. I was already getting sleepy, almost home, you know what I'm saying? And like, just out of nowhere, like, I just heard, you know what I'm saying? So, and I ducked down, you know what I'm saying, in the car, and I almost crashed the car.
Let me back you up a few minutes. Where were you coming from?
I was coming from the studio, from Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale studio. Which way did you take?
I took I-75, 595 to
75.
Expressway. Yeah.
Then you took 75 south?
The detectives know that Bortlen's story is not real. They have evidence to confirm that what he said is not the truth, as he got caught in his lie.
Here's the hard part, where we're having a hard time to understand, is that we shut down that entire area, and we had officers shoulder to shoulder walk it out. They didn't find as much as one shell casing. They didn't find one piece of glass. Nothing. Nothing to what you said adds up. And it's hard.
Bro, I'm telling you, bro, that's the class.
I mean, for whatever reason, your two friends Are these your good friends?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These my like.
These your two, I'm assuming close friends.
Yeah, we got.
And you're doing them an inservice by not telling us the truth.
I'm telling you the truth, sir. I don't like. How? What do you want?
How do you make shell casings disappear?
I don't know. How can I tell you about a shell case?
The police officer would then want details of actions made during the drive-by. How was Bortlen driving? Did he crash into anything?
And I'm driving, ducking for my life, trying to make sure I don't get hit. And you telling me you telling me about shit. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to make sure I don't get hit. I'm driving. I'm trying to make sure I don't get hit. You know what I'm saying? What I'm gonna be worried about? You know what I'm saying?
I know it's not for you to worry about.
Shit crazy, bro.
But if you tell me it happened there's got to be some evidence there. There's going to be broken glass, just like there's broken glass over here when you guys open the doors and stuff like that. Okay, there's going to be broken glass over there when the windows got out. There's going to be casings from the people at your car. Okay, there's going to be evidence over there. Okay, right now there's nothing. I kind of think I know what happened because I got information.
But the interrogation went south. Bortlen gets angry, they don't believe him.
I told y'all the story, and that's it, bro. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. Like, cause I told y'all. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know.
Okay, just so you know, all right, because you're saying, well, I don't want to talk anymore. There's going to be a lot more questions. And we're not trying to piss you off. The thing is, we don't know your friends.
Yeah.
So the reason we have to ask all these questions, because the more we know about your friends, your lifestyle, your friend's lifestyle, your friends, his friends, and the circumstances surrounding today, the more, the easier it's going to be for us to try and solve this.